listener production.
There's been another drone attack on ISIS forces in Afghanistan overnight by the Americans. They say that this was a targeted attack. It was a suicide bomber in a vehicle who was aiming to attack the airport. The Americans said that they have taken out a carload of people headed toward the airport. On Saturday, US President Joe Biden, as we know, said the situation remained extremely dangerous on the ground. The deadline for the removal of all of the American forces is tomorrow. One wonders if that will in fact now happen. Has Australia, though, gotten out of Afghanistan all of those people that it promised that they would? Heston Russell is a former Special Forces commando who has served in both Afghanistan and in Iraq. He's on the line again. Good to talk to you.
Hey, good morning, Steve.
You've got a case of someone who's not been able to get out, right?
Yeah, there's unfortunately too many, Steve. There's a couple of I know a group of veterans that were all in contact with different people. The group I spoke to you about, an Australian citizen, he's back here and his family was lined up outside Kabul when the attacks went off, and they're now hiding in Kabul, trying to get in contact with the Australian government to find out how they can get out. And I'm having to tell them to try and move to the Pakistan border. And all that they're doing is being able to send an email through to the only contact details provided by our government. And that's one of about 6 or 7 cases that I know individual veterans are reaching out and supporting at the moment.
How difficult would it be, given your knowledge of the terrain, to get to the Pakistan border if you were intending originally to go to the Hamid Karzai airport in Kabul?
It's really ridiculous, Steve. And you know what? It's great that no Australian servicemen and women were injured in those attacks. But from a veteran's perspective, and speaking with some people who've been there, yet again, our government has demonstrated that they don't understand how to employ our military correctly. The fact that we withdrew our forces before that attack went off, and the fact that the American forces are still there facilitating this evacuation and Australia is not there, is only further undermining our position. And it's great that no Australians were lost, but our military is designed to be deployed into high-risk situations to support Australian citizens and those we have a moral obligation for. And I've spoken with some of those veterans who've been removed, and they are sad and they are angry. And they wish that they were there doing their job. And again, the fact that the deadline hasn't yet closed and Australia is still not there, and there are people on the ground that we are telling to move to the Pakistan border, is what really pisses me off, to be frank, Steve.
So what sort of number do we know, or are we simply guessing of the number that we morally should be getting out of there in one of our evacuation flights? And what's your understanding of why we decided that's it, we're not going back in there again?
Because we have a strategically risk-averse government, Steve. No way do any of us want to have any Australian servicemen and women killed in the conduct of this operation. But the fact that we are not there, and there are still US on the ground, and we withdrew before that attack. There's a difference between withdrawing to an inner perimeter with an imminent attack, and there's a difference between standing guard and trying to make sure that attack doesn't happen. And there's a difference between then leaving your entire force before the attack happens, leaving the US and the Brits there. You know, just quickly thinking about that as far as Australia's position in an alliance who's fought alongside our US and British partners in Afghanistan for 20 years. I'm speaking with, I lived and worked in the US for a year with their forces, and I'm speaking with my peers over there who are going, hey man, like what the hell? Why did you guys withdraw? What's going on? Why are you not still there?
And the answer to that is our government doesn't want to risk Australians being in the middle of what is obviously a very dangerous situation. That's what the government will say. Is that not a reasonable thing for a Prime Minister and a Defence Minister to say, that to the Australian public, I don't want to risk Australian lives?
Absolutely, Steve. And you know what? But that's what our military is designed for. And you ask those servicemen and women, you ask any veteran if they would prefer to be there on the ground doing their job. And this is the unfortunate part, where the military is but a puppet of the government and the strategic decisions. And I fully appreciate the political position where you're damned one way and damned the other. If there had been Australians killed in that attack, absolutely the opposition would have jumped on it. But this is, again, the failure for us to appreciate, what our military forces are designed for, and to actually apply a little bit of extra, planning and awareness to these situations. I mean, we shouldn't have been in this situation to start off with. We know this. Okay, we can't make up for that. But then these sort of half-assed attempts to wave the flag and get 4,000 people out while there are still people there. I just don't understand why we're not there up to the last minute with the US supporting our people.
We hear, according to the Australian newspaper today, Heston, that a Senate inquiry is going to be told that Australian personnel turned away hundreds, is the word used in this story, of Afghans who were told to come to Kabul's airport after being issued last-minute temporary protection visas. Lawyers for Afghan interpreters and security guards who worked at Australia's Afghan embassy will tell the inquiry visa holders were abandoned outside the airport's gates despite having valid visas.
Yeah, Steve, there's stories that even have people turning up with a visa on their phone and told to go back and get a printed copy by members of the DFAT staff on the ground. Too much of this smells like trying to tick boxes, wave the flag, get in, get out with the minimum of achievement so we can be beating our chest back here in question time and on our media releases that we're watching our politicians achieve. And I really look forward to, and I'm linked in with some of the members outside of the coalition to see what comes from this inquiry.
And I know you talk to your colleagues who have been on the ground. How angry are they?
Yeah, this is it. I haven't yet spoken to one who was, thank goodness we got out there before the attack. They knew some of those Marines. They're asking themselves, they knew some of those, people there in the crowd. They're asking themselves the question like, perhaps my extra set of eyes or perhaps my extra weapon system could have made the difference looking in that crowd. This is what we're trained to do. And I understand it's very difficult for people to comprehend and jump to one side saying, thank goodness Australians didn't risk their lives in that attack. But thinking about the practical, tactical implications of this, there are so many more considerations that are just quickly being glossed over in, big statements like, we went in there to this dangerous and difficult situation and got our people out safe. It's like, great. But we left our mates there and we left the US there. We withdrew right before they were attacked and we're still not there while they're still on the ground supporting their people the way we should be supporting ours.
And the case in particular that you've been tracking, the reality of getting to the Pakistan border's zero, isn't it? How do you get through all the Taliban-controlled towns along the way to even get there?
Yeah, that's it, Steve. It's not just like get an Uber. And also it's like which part of the Pakistan border, The thing we need to see, Steve, is in the next press conference and every press conference from here, like talking to those people in Afghanistan and those families here in Australia who are talking to their loved ones in Afghanistan and helping them and telling them what to do. But first things first, like set up a bloody call centre for these people to call. At the moment, everything is corresponding through an email to an afghanlee@defence.gov.au email. And you could just imagine the despair these people are having waiting for email replies 2, 3, 4 days at a time. Some people haven't even received a reply email even after that attack happened, Steve, and they're calling, they're getting on social media, they're messaging people that they know in Australia to try and find out what's going on, and we can only provide them with empty answers.
Well, let's keep talking about it. Keep the lines of communication open, Heston. There's not much we can do from here, but at least we can shine a light on what the government has and hasn't done. I'm going to try and talk to Jackie Lambie tomorrow, who is obviously the independent senator who's been involved in much of the criticism of the government over this. This Senate inquiry will sit today. We'll see what sort of answers we get out of the people who are making these decisions. Thank you for your time again, Heston. Good on you, mate.
Hey, thank you, Steve. And sorry if I can just grab 10 more seconds just to ask people today to check on a mate. I had someone yesterday take their own life pretty close to me, and it was just an acquaintance, literally someone who was a puppy play date pal of my 2-year-old mini dachshund here. And I just, everyone at the moment is in such an emotional and anxiety-driven state, and we just need to take that time to check on each other and ask how people are doing. Veterans, regular Australians all aside, it's really hit home to me while I'm focusing on veterans' mental health. So many just everyday people are really struggling, and all it takes is potentially asking someone how they're doing. And if I can ask your listeners today to dedicate, 5 or 10 minutes of their time to ask at least one person, it might make the difference.
That's a great message, Heston. Thank you, mate. You're a great man. Good on you. Thanks for talking to us again. Heston Russell there, and that's quite true. Go through your phone today and look up a few people in your contact list that you haven't spoken to maybe for a few weeks or a few days or a few months, and give them a call. Just say, are you okay? How are you going today? You going all right? And try and then get an idea, get a handle on how they are when they respond to that question, because there are a lot of people around Australia at the moment who are doing it very tough.
listener.